Argentina is the best team in the world, right now, officially. According to a spreadsheet, that's the FIFA World Ranking, a single number next to every national team on the planet. And that number decides who gets seeded at the World Cup, who gets an easy group, who gets a nightmare draw. It literally shapes international football. But here's the thing nobody tells you. The way FIFA calculates that number is kind of bizarre. And once you understand it, you'll never look at a ranking the same way again. Let's break it down. Fast. FIFA publishes a list, roughly once a month, ranking all 211 national teams. From Argentina at the top, all the way down to whoever's sitting at 211, wondering how it got this bad. Every team gets a point total. More points, higher rank. Simple enough. But how do you earn those points? That's where it gets interesting. FIFA uses a points system called the sum formula. Don't worry, we're not doing maths today, just the concept. Every time your national team plays a match, that match is worth a certain number of points. Your total ranking score is just the average of your last 16 months of results, weighted so recent matches count more than old ones. In theory, play well, score points, climb the ranking. In practice, it's a lot more complicated than that, because not all matches are equal. Here's where it gets interesting. When you beat someone, the points you earn depend on who you beat. Beat Brazil? Big points. Beat the Faroe Islands? Less so. FIFA assigns each opponent a strength value based on their current ranking. Beat a top 10 team, you're rewarded handsomely. Beat a bottom 50 team, you basically broke even. This sounds fair, and it mostly is. But it creates a fun little problem. If you never play good teams, you can never really climb. You're stuck playing the same mid-table teams for points that barely move the needle. It's like trying to level up in a video game, but you only fight the starter enemies. FIFA also weighs matches differently depending on what competition they're in. A friendly? That's worth the least. A confederation qualifier, like CONMEBOL or UEFA, worth more. A continental final, even more. And a World Cup match? Maximum points. So a friendly between France and Germany, two of the best teams on earth, is worth less than a World Cup qualifier between, say, Ecuador and Bolivia. Because context matters. In practice, this means teams that play mostly friendlies, and some big nations really do phone it in during friendlies, can stagnate in the rankings even when they're clearly world-class. Belgium spent years in the top 5 without winning a single trophy. The ranking loved them. The trophy cabinet did not. Okay, here's one that'll make you raise an eyebrow. FIFA adjusts your points based on which confederation you're from. UEFA, that's Europe, and CONMEBOL, that's South America, have the highest multipliers, meaning a win against a European team is worth more than a win against, say, a CONCACAF or CAF team of the same rank. The logic is that the average quality of teams in Europe and South America is higher, so competition there is tougher, so wins there should count for more. Is that fair? Debatable. Ask any African or Asian federation and they'll tell you it's a bit convenient that the two richest, most powerful confederations also get the biggest multiplier. Just saying. Remember that average of your last 16 months of results? That means if you had a terrible tournament 2 years ago, it's gone, irrelevant. But if you had a terrible tournament 8 months ago, you're still carrying that weight. This creates a really interesting dynamic around World Cup years. Teams sometimes drop in the rankings right after a World Cup because those match results age out and get replaced by less dramatic results. You can literally go from World Cup winner to ranked 10th a year later, just because of how the window moves. This sounds wrong, it kind of is. But it's also kind of genius because it means the ranking is always about now, not about what you did in 2010. Here's the honest answer. Mostly yes, occasionally no. The top 10 almost always makes sense. You look at it and you go, yeah, those are the best teams. Argentina, France, England, Brazil, Spain. Hard to argue. But the middle of the ranking gets weird fast. You'll find teams ranked 40th that would comfortably beat teams ranked 25th, just because they haven't played the right opponents at the right time. The ranking rewards activity and competition quality, not just raw talent. And the bottom of the ranking? Don't even ask. Some of those teams haven't played a competitive match in years. They're just there, existing. You might be thinking, okay, interesting, but who cares? Turns out, Everyone who touches a World Cup draw cares deeply. The FIFA ranking determines seeding. Seeding determines your pot. Your pot determines who you can and can't be drawn against in the group stage. Get seeded well, and you could avoid the defending champions entirely. Get seeded badly, and you might face them in the group. The ranking isn't just trivia. It's a mechanism that shapes the entire tournament before a single ball is kicked. One extra win at the right time in the right competition can mean the difference between an easy group and a nightmare one. So here's where we land. Remember that bold claim at the start, that Argentina's #1 ranking comes from a spreadsheet? That's literally true. And that spreadsheet is a formula that looks at who you beat, how important the match was, how strong the opponent is, and when it all happened. It's not perfect. But for a system trying to rank 211 teams across 6 continents with wildly different competition structures, it's actually pretty clever. The one-sentence version. FIFA ranks you based on who you beat, not just whether you won. And here's a question to leave you with. If you were designing this system from scratch, what would you change? Because there are a lot of smart people who think the whole thing needs a rewrite. And with new World Cup formats coming, that debate is only getting louder. If you want more breakdowns like this, the weird rules, the hidden systems, the things football doesn't always explain, subscribe. We do this every week. See you in the next one.